Oh, Butterfingers. Oh. Oh man. Have you ever broken something that you couldn't fix before? Leaves me feeling so frustrated. I have broken many things in my lifetime, and no matter how good I am at gluing, they're never quite the same again, are they? We'll see what we can do with this. You know, life can be a little bit that way too. At least my life can. Sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes things seem to break in ways that I can't piece back together. And no matter how hard I try, nothing feels quite the same again, does it? You know, the Bible is full of stories of people who are also broken, just like my mug. People whose lives had taken really bad turns. People who felt rejected. You know, either because they had an illness, maybe they'd made some really huge mistakes. Folks who were at the bottom of the totem pole, the bottom of society. And we still have people like that today, don't we? Maybe we feel like we're some of those people. But in the Bible, where the world had labeled someone as a reject, where the world had not accepted someone, well, Jesus showed them genuine interest, genuine love. The world had labeled them as broken, but Jesus saw someone with purpose and value. You know, there's a story in the Bible about a woman just like this, a woman who felt broken. She had a bleeding illness for years, for decades even. And as bad as having a bleeding illness would have been, sounds terrible, in her culture it also meant that she was not a part of society. She wasn't allowed to go out or touch people. She was really self-isolating, like someone with coronavirus today. The Bible says she had spent all of her money on doctors trying to cure this illness, and she was desperate. And then she hears that Jesus is coming to town. She's heard about this Messiah figure. She knows that he has the power to heal. She believes it. So she does the unthinkable. She goes out of her house into the busy, crowded street, seeking Jesus, seeking to be healed. And she tries to get closer and closer to him, right? Pushing through the crowds, fearful at any minute that she's going to be found out. But then she finally manages to get close enough. She touches the hem of his robe, and she is instantly healed. She feels it in her body. She knows that the illness has stopped, that it's gone. But Jesus knows it too. He turns around and says, "Who's touched me?" And she is petrified. Remember, she had broken a huge cultural rule. She was at the bottom of society, and she had touched this rabbi, this Jesus. But how does Jesus respond? Well, not how you'd expect. Oh, here we go. Jesus turns to her and says, "Dear woman, your faith has healed you. Stand up and go in peace." You know, the amazing thing is that the Bible says the same thing about Jesus himself. It says that Jesus was broken for us, that Jesus was someone who was rejected. Jesus was at the bottom of society, right? Which is amazing. When he goes to the cross, he takes on that role for us. He went to the cross to defeat sin, death, the devil, illness, rejection, all the bad things in our lives. And when he rose again on the third day, he proved that he had power over these things. He proved that he was God and he had defeated them. When we put our trust in him, well, brokenness, rejection, sin, all those bad things, they don't have to define us anymore either. They become a part of the past. You know, there's an ancient Chinese tradition when pots that get broken or cracked are filled in with gold. They're not thrown away. Those cracks all of a sudden become all the more beautiful. And the item which maybe someone would have rejected is worth even more. And I think that's a lot like what happens to us when we have a relationship with God. God doesn't reject us in our brokenness. He doesn't see us as the bottom of the totem pole. In fact, he sees us as full of purpose and value. We don't need to feel that shame or walk in brokenness anymore, because with Christ in our life, our brokenness is healed.